Hello, everyone. Welcome to Marketing Table Talk, where industry experts share their view on how to help your brand stand out and thrive in the marketplace. If we haven't met yet, I am Lisa Perry, your host and a global brand marketing executive. And today we're going to talk about the impact of email, SMS, and marketing automation strategies. And I am thrilled to tap into the wealth of knowledge our expert is going to share with us today. Jill Delaney Racine manages and leads a global marketing technology team at Braun Ability, the leader in mobility transportation and providing solutions space. Welcome to the show, Jill.
Thank you, Lisa.
So, before we dive in, if you have any questions for Jill, please write that into the comment section because we're going to get to your questions today. And Jill and I would love for you to share your thoughts and perspectives along the way. And so let's dive in. How has the landscape of email marketing evolved over the recent years, and what notable trends are you seeing in the future?
Yeah, good question, Lisa. It's interesting, right? Email has been around for a while now as a marketing tactic, and now getting into SMS and personalization and AI and kind of the ever-growing landscape, not to mention privacy and legal concerns that as states and countries evolve their email regulations and third-party cookies going away and things like that, just how do you reach your audience and make it more personalized and make sure you're building those relationships and doing them through every touch point that you have from digital marketing to in person, and what is that experience, right? And I think the fun part is that we all get to experience email and kind of our different interactions from it and learn from it. I know in our team, we're certainly addressing the ongoing strategy of personalization. And the more we know about them and data management, the better we can improve that experience and what we're sending people with dynamic content, making sure that we're leveraging all of that data. And now the buzzword that I'm sure everybody is very familiar with, AI. How are we making it more efficient on our end and using technology to better deliver those messages in email, and incorporating kind of SMS and allowing our customers, our consumers, our prospects to choose how we interact with them, that we're delivering the right message on the right channel at the right time, but also adhering to legal concerns and privacy laws and regulations, making it interactive and fun and making sure that it's optimized for mobile. I think there's some trends coming out and things that we're working on of dark mode and different styles of delivering emails for people that are using their mobile phones or using email in different ways and technologies. So there's a lot of different ways to go with that, Lisa. I'm really excited about the future. There's always the debate of kind of like the old school direct mail debate. Is email marketing dead? Is there something new and a new shiny object to chase? I think in our mind, email is still king and still very much a method of reaching people and communicating with people almost to the point where it's their expectation. I know just yesterday I was getting some Nike shoes delivered to my home, and I got an email and a text message that the delivery was out. So I got an email when it was delivered. I went out to the front porch and the shoes weren't there. And so just the expectations that people have of where things are in the process and being able to be instantly notified, all thanks to people's smartphones and kind of the culture that is today and the technology available.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, email is still king, and we are instantaneous in what we want to see, and the communication is critical of when you expect things, when the delivery is. You listed off a litany of things, right? What would you say in terms of the trends? What are one or two things that we should prioritize as our must-haves for 2024?
Yeah, I think in our mind, prioritization would be making sure that we deliver the right message at the right time, in the way that customer wants. And I think the more that we know about someone and we can connect with them in the right way and making sure it's timely, right? If someone goes into a store location from a retail front and has a conversation with somebody and then they're getting an email that's kind of sending a different message. We want to make sure they're having a consistent experience across and really personalizing that. And that's kind of priority number one, is that the digital experience is consistent with the in-person experience if that exists, and the messages that we're sending. So really kind of that overarching personalization. I'd say priority number two is really how are we supporting the business and making a better relationship with our prospects and customers, right? Are we giving them content and information? Are we building a relationship with them outside of just kind of selling them something? And then how are we tracking and measuring that? Someone that may want to hear from us more frequently versus someone that may not want to hear from us as regularly, or maybe not want to hear from us right now for whatever reasons that may be. So making sure that we're really kind of staying closely connected with that and tracking and measuring it across.
Yeah, those are great points that you said. We've got a question here that I want to bring up from Michael Willis, and I love this. Are you drowning in emails? How do you differentiate your brand in an overflowing inbox, and what's your secret to not getting lost in that digital clutter? I love this.
Yeah, this is a great one, right? Because I'll be the first to admit the emails. There's a lot of emails, and I know working with my team over the retail season or the holiday season is one of the most challenging for email marketers, right? And we kind of take a step back at that time, because we're not targets in the retail Christmas kind of holiday shopping experience. But I think it is a very valid question on drowning in emails and how do you stand out. I think we're starting to leverage some AI technology on just pushing messages to people's inboxes when they're in their inbox, and using send time optimization, trying to always stand out on subject lines, to have your brand stand out. When we talk about SMS, like can we send things with pictures and videos and gifts, and something that's more relatable, that sticks out to people, that resonates with people, that's more creative, and certainly on the personalization side, right? If they're talking to me about something that's interesting to me, I'm probably going to read it more likely than I'm going to read the generic message that was sent to everybody, that doesn't have interest in kind of what I'm looking for at that time. So I think those are some very basic tactics. I think probably every marketer has the same question, and is looking for that. And I'd say it's something that's kind of an ongoing um, thing that we're looking at, and that probably everyone is struggling with and looking at, is just how do you stand out at the right time to people.
And you just touched on something, and so I wanna explore that a little bit more. Is how do you see the role of email, of personalization evolving in email and marketing automation strategies?
Yeah, I think personalization really ties into data. And I think there's just an expectation, right? Coming out of COVID with digital, what the experience is that someone has with your brand and your business, based off of the information you have, right? I mentioned earlier, I talked to a store associate and I told them this, and I kind of always use an example of talking to a customer service agent and getting passed off to somebody else and having to explain my story again. We kind of view email marketing and digital marketing in this aspect of, we want to know everything about that consumer, that person, that we're delivering a message that's impactful to them, based off of a conversation they may have had with an inside sales team or someone in a brick and mortar store. That we're kind of incorporating those touch points and those data points. And I think that's really the key thing to personalization, is being able to unify all that data together and make something meaningful of what you're delivering.
Well, I'm gonna take another question here, Jill. We've got a lot of questions over here. So, this is from Sylvia Nash. Is there a specific day of the week that is a better time to send to get the greatest response and impact?
Yeah, that's a good one, Sylvia. I know my team is always measuring this, and kind of using the technology to rely on it. And I mentioned the like send time optimization of knowing when someone's typically in their inbox. Like for me, I'm always checking my personal email after work from 5 to 6 or something like that. Can we send messages at the right time for the day of the week? I think it's probably going to depend on your brand and your consumer and when they're most active, and that's probably going to vary by brand. I think in our business, we tend to find that it varies. So it could be like Thursdays, is a really good day. We typically send things in the middle of the week versus on like a Monday or a Friday. something like that. But it really depends on your audience. Honestly, we started trying something recently, which is weekends. So, do we have better resignation and getting good response on Sundays, especially in the winter regions? Again, it could kind of depend on where you live, and how active you are and what your brand and your audience are based off of kind of when they're in their inbox and getting notifications. I think the key thing is that you're trying multiple touch points, so probably nothing new to marketers. We don't rely on kind of one source for communicating something to a consumer method, so we don't rely solely on email, but where are we most effective and making sure that we're tracking and measuring that and really truly understanding the audience, and when they're looking for that.
Yeah, I love that. It's always a big question. And then I'm going to take another one here. Luz Donahue is asking, how do we set expectations for costs, given that some stakeholders seem to think automation, AI are lower costs?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, cost is huge. And what is the expectation of that? So I think really looking at your technology and leveraging what you have, and really, I think you can even start small with technology, especially in the email marketing world. Digital marketing technology can be more cost effective, and starting small with something and trying it to prove ROI and value. And I think AI is kind of the buzz right now, as we mentioned earlier, and automation. And I, I think there is oftentimes kind of an expectation or maybe a gap in what people, because everybody sends emails in their daily jobs and lives, and kind of what it takes to deliver an email message out. And from a mass marketing perspective or a marketing automation perspective, you're really looking at multiple different facets. So it's not as easy. I think from AI, we have to look at it from the perspective of legal, and governance. And I think right now we're really just kind of dipping our toe and trying out AI on subject lines and
Mhm.
building content that can be editable. But there's much more to that and having a plan. But I do think you can start small, and inexpensive to try things and to prove value.
And there are some things that are free. You can test them free, test the platform, test it out, see what it's like, and if that works for you, then go ahead and advance into their premium platform. There's just so many things that these companies as well aren't trying to test themselves and leverage them and get themselves broader awareness. So that's why they're offering these free basic plans for you. So to your point, start small, work with them and their basic plans. Um, how do you recommend businesses adapt to the changing consumer behavior in this, digital age that we're in today?
Yeah, that's a good one, Lisa, and really trying to truly understand your audience, and making sure that you heighten the need of connecting with them and the way they want to be connected. And whether that be through really having true buyer personas and customer journey maps, or just as simple as, having someone select their preferences of when they want to be communicated with and how, and what channel that looks like, and having them give you more information. I know one thing that we do in our emails is we embed forms, and so we do progressive profiling to just simply ask them one more bit of information, and see if they can give us an answer on that helps improve their experience. At the end of the day, we want to make it a positive experience with our brand and connect with them how they want to be connected with, and really that looks different for a lot of people. There isn't kind of one silver bullet for your target personas or your audiences. Everybody has a different way. I always kind of use the example of my husband. He's different than myself, and he's not sitting on his phone, and he has a very specific time of day. So the person that asked about the time of day is like, he's only checking email and looking at these things on his computer from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the evenings. And so really understanding kind of what someone is looking for and the experience they want to have with your brand, I think is key. And then Lisa, I wanted to build on exactly what you said regarding, just trying something, right, for free. And I think that's a really fun thing right now and a great benefit for all marketers and technology. And someone just asked about AI, and starting small. And I think most of the time you'll see that you can have a trial, and have a way of proving out, a use case, and just always piloting something and truly trying to understand. But there are plenty of free tools out on the market to leverage, and to try things to prove if it's valuable to your business.
Yeah, it's a great time to experiment. I'm going to bring up another question here from Lynn Holland. What essential MarTech platforms do you recommend for bootstrapping startups, mid-market, and enterprise companies to identify, find, reach, educate, convert, and gain referrals from their ICP?
Yeah, this is a good one. I've been in a startup world in my past lives. Again, very fun. There's a lot of free tools out there, but I know budget constraints across the board when you're just starting out and improving value, or even when you're mid-market versus enterprise, where you have kind of more complexity and other challenges to face. I think really we focus on paid media and digital methods that are inexpensive to really bring in new audiences and connect with them. So I think you touched on this, Lisa, of the paid platforms can have some very small budgets where you can go and try paid media and connect it. Social media certainly is free in some aspects. And so, what can you try and start organically? I think, we try methods of just like most marketers, which is, can we entice them with some kind of educational articles and guides, buyer's guides, and things like that, to start identifying our audience and downloadables and connecting with them, just to really kind of start small. I think you could also look at partner networks, but I do think a lot of the marketing technology platforms today lend to startups and mid-sized companies, as you mentioned, with kind of free tools or even lower expensive tools that they give you. But those are some of the different tactics throughout digital, right? It's not just email. I think that's one of the things of educating others that aren't in marketing, of email and SMS and kind of automation are really about nurturing the contacts that you already have and formulating and maintaining relationships versus kind of identifying and reaching new audiences. And I think there are other really good methods for doing that as you're starting out. Certainly, like, Lisa, you're probably very familiar on like a PR front, and how can you get connected and leverage other partners to lean on their website and their platforms and their audiences to do kind of co-branded HTML messages. It's something that we still do as an enterprise company, is can we partner and provide an HTML email that they can send out to their database? Can we do something together? Do we have
Mhm.
giveaways, promotions, where we can kind of leverage adjacent audiences and work together to find and supplement our funding or our strategies where we may not have platforms or technology available?
Yeah, I like that. Cross promoting with like companies is huge. Videos, Q and A's like this, and incorporating that, connecting with your audience and helping them along the way. Those free resources, all of those are huge to getting them engaged. Um, uh, Want to ask you another question here. Marketing automation is a buzzword, right? So, what specific aspects do you believe is a game changer for businesses right now?
Yeah, that's a good one. We use a lot of buzzwords in marketing, especially in technology. I do think there's some game changers in automation as far as saving and making things more efficient for your internal team. So, um, as we talked about, as kind of what someone experiences and what they're expecting, and those triggered emails at certain points in their journey. So, shipments, deliveries, those things that help your customer experience teams or your inside sales teams, that would be kind of nurturing them with more information. We talked about guides and videos after a customer becomes part of your brand and business. How are you continually to celebrate and connect with them on anniversaries, and to show value to them, engage them throughout your brand. So I think that's kind of one aspect of that. We talk a little bit about SMS, and kind of expanding out how do we couple and supplement, as people are maybe not reading as many emails and want to receive messages in other ways. And maybe that be through mobile app notifications, or specific SMS that is very targeted on something they may want to receive regarding an offer. But really focusing on kind of what we can automate, how we become more efficient, but really making it more humanized. So I think that's kind of the balance, Lisa, as you said. I think people will hear marketing automation and kind of think of the robot way or kind of an automated message where we really still want to make sure that we're delivering one-to-one messages that are humanized, that are maybe personalized, but make it easier for our internal teams and streamline that customer experience to just continually better and improve that.
Well, and so I'm going to bring up this question because Michael Willis just hits on that right there, right? So how do you maintain your brand's unique voice in the age of marketing automation without sounding like a robot? Because I think that's a valid concern out there. Is you don't want to come across not like a human, like we've lost that touch. So do you think you can expand on that a little bit more? Because I think that's a valid concern.
Yeah, absolutely, Michael, and thank you. It's great input, and I think my team sees this frequently. As it's kind of the initial thought, right? Of you don't want to deliver something that is impersonal to someone, and don't want to take away that personal experience. And by no means are we trying to. We're supplementing it, and I think there are tactics in maintaining your brand's voice. I know we're just talking about this with tonality, right? And using AI for brand tonality and kind of testing that and what that would look like. And at what point do we want to try and see what it looks like? I think it's scary for everyone, right? And you really want to maintain your brand, but at the same time, you want to make it personal. And I think some tactics vary in a tactical nature of someone's signature line. So if we're delivering a message on behalf of our inside sales team or our customer experience group to a current customer, we're delivering it with their picture and their signature, and we're passing it into the CRM so they can see the message that was delivered at that time on their behalf. And we're kind of bringing in key data points that we have accessible to them about that customer into that message to make sure it's personalized, and kind of not being robot-esque. I think that's always kind of a delicate line to balance of making something impersonal versus making it personal, but also making sure that our brand um, resonates in everything that we're sending and that we're touching, and that the brand team feels good about the automations that we're creating, and whether it be email, SMS, digital paid media, whatever it is, that we're really kind of staying true to that.
And then even if it's like a very small business, or it doesn't even have to be a small business, I think it just depends on the strategy. You can also be strategically sending it from a person too, depending on your approach too, right? To make that human touch so that it doesn't sound like it's a business, depending on the strategy.
Exactly. I think matching that, as simple as changing the from name, right? Of kind of who it's coming from and the signature, as we talked about with the picture and the name, or just some kind of data point or touch point that that person may say or do. Or even, I think you see some really good marketing automation emails with a video clip, like the 10-second video clip from the inside salesperson of that they're
Mhm, right.
delivering that's personalized, and taking a little lift off of them, but making it personal and connecting it.
I love that suggestion. So, what challenges do businesses commonly face when implementing marketing automation, and how can they overcome those?
Yeah, I think data is always key to the challenge, right? Of making sure that you have the right data, that it's being maintained, and that it's cleansed by different teams, and that you can have a lot of people entering in data from different sources, and making sure that you have a clear process for that. I think also some of the challenges just how do you get started, right? How do you efficiently do it? How do you measure it, and improve value and success? So, again, we talked about starting small, failing fast, just doing
Mm,
something rather than trying to build an enterprise plan. Just start small with what you have. But I think that some of the larger challenges are on the data end, and then just proving the value for what you're doing, right?
I love that. We've got another question here from UCA. Any suggestions for those free tools and you've used and found to be particularly useful?
Yeah, that's good. I'd love to connect with that one offline, or maybe I can share something in the chats later with the whole group on here. I have
Great.
a I have a nice little sheet that we use within the team of
Oh,
just
That'd be
of free
great.
marketing resources. We use a couple different subject line generators that we try. We do a lot of A/B testing in our area when it comes specifically to email marketing and SMS. And so we have some of those free tools that are available from an A/B testing perspective. And then we have a couple content generation tech tools. And then I've got some broader technology free tools that are available out there that I think are pretty good. But I'm happy to
Oh,
share that over with the group or with
that
you,
would be
Lisa.
great. Thank you. Here's another one from Lynn Holland. What SMS tools do you suggest to fit seamlessly into a marketing tech stack? Will that also be in your suggestion?
Yeah, I'll include that in. I think it's important to look at SMS kind of from two angles, or at least how we do it in our tech stack today, which is kind of more the mass marketing SMS versus the one-to-one SMS communications where you're talking with an agent. So we actually have two different technologies today that are supporting that one-to-one messaging, but kind of connecting across, and then that marketing message that's really truly embedded into the email marketing journeys and measurement. But making sure that you have a solution for both. And I think what's most important for when you do get started is that you just have a plan for responding. So as somebody is going to respond to an email, I've had situations in the past where someone's responding to the generic inbox and they want a response, right? Making sure that with an SMS that you have those channels in place for as someone responds to a text with more information or questions, that they're routed in the right way. And of course, we're always trying to use technology to do that and connect everything into one unified profile in the CRM so that everybody kind of has visibility to the touch points with a customer or consumer. But I think those are important things to think about as you look at an SMS tool.
Great, thank you. In your experience, since we're talking about SMS, in your experience, how does the integration of SMS enhance or complement email marketing efforts?
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. I think as more is trended, I certainly see more brands sending text messages. I think there's a time and a place for an email versus a text. So different types of communications, right? A text is more like the Twitter version of the short message with a link over to a site or something that is very timely in nature that needs to be delivered in that manner. And I think understanding kind of the difference and how they complement each other, and certainly reminders for things as we all get busy with our days. It's nice to see kind of quick reminders via text versus kind of the longer format in the email. But making sure you have a clear strategy for how the two couple each other, but also thinking about your consumer and what they're most interested in and what they're looking to engage in and where and how they want to receive messages.
I love that. And then how do you measure the success of email and SMS campaigns, and what KPIs do you find as most valuable?
Yeah, I think there's just the obvious, right, of the email kind of marketing engagement as well as SMS engagement when you're looking at deliverability, engagement numbers as far as click to open. I know those are all challenging and kind of the basics. I think for us, it's really getting to the ROI and the relationship, the customer lifetime value, the relationship, the NPS score, how they really look at our brand. And we play a large role in that with their digital experience, but really trying to equate that back to ROI. Are we driving action on their end, but also just knowing that at the end of the day, we're not always pushing a product or kind of a solution on them, but how are we improving their experience with our brand, which is why we look at that NPS score and other kind of metrics to do that. I think the other thing we look at from a marketing automation perspective with our email and SMS is just kind of lead scoring and lead rating as somebody's going through that buying cycle and purchase with us. How are we affecting that, and how are we maintaining and keeping that based off of their engagement with our brand?
So that's really interesting. Do you see any emerging metrics that you believe are going to be crucial for the future success of email and SMS campaigns that we need to be aware of?
That's a really good question, Lisa. I would love to see more emerge on the SMS side. And somebody asked about send times and phones, and it would be great for us to have more visibility into how often people are on their phones, what they're looking for, and more on the mobile end. I think more will emerge there as far as metrics and kind of connecting the entire digital landscape together. So I think we understand how people are interacting with our emails, how people are interacting with our website, and how people interact with their phone at a very basic level. How can we bring that all together for a personalized journey metric and really kind of measure the KPIs around that? That's where I'd like to see more emerge is on the mobile side and the personalization side.
Well, thank you, Jill, for sharing your invaluable insights and actionable tips with us today. For the audience, Jill is a true expert in this space. And so I want you to take the time to reach out, connect with her for further discussion. I've listed here her ways that you can connect with her. I'm going to put that in the comments as well. And for the audience, thank you for joining us today, Jill. Thank you for being an amazing guest on Marketing Table Talk. And for the audience, I hope you join us for another Marketing Table Talk episode and have just a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.